to my channel. This is the 100th take of this because I keep accidentally saying names of things. So, I'm going to be telling my story today. And telling about the first 3 years I was in the foster care system. So ages 3 to 6 and how they failed me within those years. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will make more videos later on about the rest of my life, but for now it's just ages 3 to 6. So, when I was 3 years old, my baby sister, who was 3 months old at the time, died from SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. It's when the baby dies and no one knows why. And so that happened. My mom was severely depressed, and was dealing with domestic violence, and my dad was an alcoholic. So for these reasons, children and youth thought that it was unsafe for us to be in that home. So me and all of my siblings were taken away. I was placed with my sister. We went through 2 foster homes and a group home. The first foster home had us for about a year and a half. I'm not really quite sure. And then they gave us up because of behavioral issues. Then we went to the second foster home, and that house was completely white. Everything was white, including the dog. And one time when I was 4 years old, I was drinking fruit punch, and I spilled it. And it stained the couch, the rug, and the dog red for a week. So that was great. And so then they ended up giving us up for behavioral issues too. So then we went to a group home. Now this group home is a religious group home. They're Christian, so we had to go to church every week and pray before every meal and everything. But this group home was set up like a family setup, and at this point in time, I was 5 years old. So you had chores to do. They had video game consoles. We had a PlayStation 2. We had a computer, and DSs to play on. But they were very, like, time restricted with it. Like, you were only allowed on for an hour a day or something like that. So this group home was set up like a family thing, and me and my sister were placed in the mixed, group, like the mixed age group, because of our ages being so different. So we were placed there, and some of the people who took care of us were amazing, others not so much. At the age of 6 years old, while still at this group home, I was only 60 pounds. And I had been in foster care for 3 years at this point. So, in case you didn't know, 60 pounds for a 6-year-old is really small. Like, extremely small. So, that's not good at all. And this is due to other kids stealing my food. Which I do remember. This gave me issues, and I started hoarding food underneath my bed at this group home. And then, according to my sister, I got ants. And, ironically, one of my biggest fears when I was 6 years old is ants. So, maybe that's why. I'm not really quite sure. But, yeah, so then, also, I could not speak English until I was 6 years old. Like, no one could understand what I was saying because I would speak gibberish. Now, this is probably due to my autism, because I just didn't know how to speak properly. I also got frequent ear infections when I was little, so that could be why too. So, I don't know. But either way, I only spoke gibberish till I was 6 years old. That's an interesting fact. But my biological mom and my sister understood me because they just knew me, because they were there the whole time I was growing up and just knew how to tell what I was saying. Just like some people and families can tell what a baby wants. Kind of like that. So yeah, so I was put in speech therapy when I went to school. And that improved it to the point that people could understand me. I still have some speech issues today. Like, I stutter sometimes, and I don't say things properly sometimes. But other than that, it's pretty good. And then also, the people at this group home, the people who would take care of us, would quit a lot. And that gave me abandonment issues, because it's just like, when you're living somewhere and the grown-ups are always leaving and never coming back. And then there were some of them who would promise to adopt us and then would leave and never come back. It was a whole situation that should have never happened, because honestly, they shouldn't have said that they were going to adopt us if they weren't going to. Now, during this time period, my biological mom was always in contact with us, and she visited us once a week or something like that. I don't know. She visited us quite often, and she called us at least every single week. So we had contact with her. Now, my biological dad is a completely different story. So he was coming to visits, but then by the time I was 5 years old, he stopped coming to visits, and it was only phone calls. Then, and he said that he was working. Then, a couple of months later, that stopped too. So, he abandoned us when I was 5. I haven't talked to him or heard from him since, and honestly, I don't care to. Because as far as I know, he's still an alcoholic, and I don't want that in my life. So, he chose alcohol over his own kids, which is really messed up. And he also went to jail when I was 7 years old. My mom finally got the courage to leave him when I was 6 years old. So when I was 6 years old, she left him, but she was not able to get the help that she needed to get a house for us to live in. She passed every other goal that Children and Youth had set for her. She went to the classes, she passed all of her drug tests, she did everything else she was supposed to. She just could not afford a house at that time because she just left a domestic abuse situation and had nothing. So she decided when I was the age of 7, she decided that the best thing for us would be to give us up for adoption because she thought someone else could give us a better life than she could. She did it for all the right reasons. She didn't do it because she didn't want us. She did it because she loved us and wanted us to have a better life and didn't want to spend the rest of our lives in a group home. Now, for the rest of my siblings, they did have a better life. For me, I did not. But we'll get to that one another time. So, that is the first couple years of my life. That is ages 3 through 6. So we'll talk about more in another video. The next video will be a little bit more of my life, and then so forth and so on until I get to the end of it. It's just a really long story and difficult to tell. So it's better that I do it in little chunks. I do have PTSD from everything that happened from the ages 3 to 18. I actually have complex PTSD because of everything. So that's fun. And that's one of the main reasons I have beasts too. But yeah, so I will talk about the rest in another video. Please like and subscribe.